All right, guys, you only have 3 days left to get entered in on winning my Duramax. This is a 2015, nice little 6-inch lift, 35s on 22 by 14s. Truck looks freaking beautiful. Every $3 you spend is one entry to win this truck. You are not limited to just one entry. You can buy multiple. And the best part, I will be shipping this thing right to your door, so you don't have to worry about it. Or I'll fly you in. You can come check out the cars, pick it up, and drive it home. Good morning, my friends. Welcome back to the channel. Any day you get to drive one of these things is a good day. I want you to know that. Call me a little biased, but I think that car is so much cooler than this car. Don't get me wrong, I love this car, but that's the coolest. The order in the garage right now literally goes from this to this to this in the coolness factor. Most fun to drive, that by 20 billion miles, but coolest overall, that second, third, second and a half. All right, goodbye, buddy. I'll see you tonight. Oh, you want to come? All right, let's go. Come on, buddy. All right, you gotta stay on the floor today because I don't have your towel for the seat. All right, bro. On today's shenanigans, Piston and Devin go to the shop. Do not munch on that Recaro, bro. Good boy. Little piece of advice: if you bring your dog for rides in nice cars, at all costs, let the mans go potty outside before he gets in your car. It took him like an hour this morning to go take a dump, but he finally did. Could you imagine? That would be a poopy situation if he went potty in the car. We are missing one thing for this to be matching this, and that is window tint. We got the yellow on the exterior, black wheels on both, paint matched calipers on both, and well, I guess that's got 10 cylinders. This has only got 4, but exterior wise, I want them to be as close as possible. Today, we are going to fix that, my friends. We are going to be attempting to tint the entire yellow Evo 8. Now you might be thinking, Devin, you don't know how to tint. And you're right, I do not. But I've been practicing over the last few months, random windows here and there, some stuff on the Type R, and today I'm going to attempt my first full freaking tint. Windshield, back glass, all the side windows, maybe even the sunroof. I must say, seeing both of these cars together is a freaking dream. I wish the paint matched better. That is a severely pearl yellow, nice, glistening in the sun. This is a sunflower yellow, a lightning yellow. Very bright, looks very, very good, but they don't really match. So I have all my supplies laid out here, a couple different squeegees, knife, replacement stainless blades. Make sure when you're cutting on glass to use stainless blades. Taking a quick look at the car, this thing doesn't look like it's going to be all that difficult as far as shrinking goes. The front will need to be shrunk, side should be fine. If I decide to do a little bit darker up top, that'll be easy. And the rear is actually pretty freaking flat on this car, so that should be simple as well. But I'm going to go ahead and start off with the sides. We got a little one back there, and then the two windows. 2 door windows. Now, of course, this is optional. You don't have to pull the door panels, but I'm gonna go ahead and pull the door panels. I am a newbie. Like I said, I've never done a full car at once. A professional could easily tuck it down underneath that seal, but I'm gonna go ahead and pop the panels off as I'm tinting. So let's start off with the passenger front. With the door panel off, we need to go ahead and cut the tint to the shape of the window. I'm not high tech enough to have one of those machines that cuts it for you, so I'll do it by hand. I'm just gonna clean the outside real good. First with just a microfiber. I am feeling some weird like pits and whatnot on the outside of the glass. And it's not a super big deal, but it will leave imprints in the tint. So I'm gonna go ahead and razor blade the outside. I don't think this is common practice to razor blade the outside, but I'm gonna do it anyway. There we go, she's all clean. Let's squeegee it off again and get to work. Now we're only using the outside of the window for cutting the film. I've noticed in the past when I have other tinters tint my cars and people online see the tinter putting tint on the outside of the window, they think it actually stays on the outside of the window. That is not the case. That's only for cutting it to the shape of the window. Then you transfer it to the inside and apply it actually on the inside of the window, which we need to clean the inside of the window. We can either do that now or we can do that after we cut the tint. I'm gonna do it after I cut the tint. So let's cut the tint. I'm gonna do my best to give you guys a solid tutorial, but like I said, this is my first time ever doing a full car, so in the future I'll probably do a real tutorial. Today I'm just messing around. So here's our piece of film. This is a 20-inch by 40-inch. Before I laid that film down, I squirted a little bit of our solution on the window to kind of hold it in place. Put a little bit on the outside. Just give her a light tack. Now we're gonna make our bottom cut first. And then I moved on to the rear cut, and then I'm gonna do the front cut. Lastly, I'm actually gonna pull that window down just a little bit so we can get that top edge nice and perfect. So I have my piece of film all trimmed out to the size and shape of the window. Now we need to go through and get the inside of the window very, very clean. Little scrub pad I got in my tinting kit that I bought. Also comes with this guy here for when you're doing like the back glass or the windshield to get down by the dash. This looks like it's just a piece of white Scotch-Brite. Lastly, I'm gonna run through with a squeegee, get this thing perfectly clean. The glass is completely clean. Wet it one last time. This is our slip solution, and we're gonna go ahead and apply the tint. So right now I'm just lining up this top edge, making sure that both the front and the back are covered properly. I know the bottom's gonna be fine. I'll just tack it right down in the center. And now we squeegee it on. We freaking did it. Now, full transparency. This was my third attempt at doing this front window today. The first piece, I was almost done cutting it all out, and I realized that these windows kind of shift back and forth a little bit. So I wanted to redo that. I didn't end up wasting that film because I can just apply it on the rear window. Second piece, got it all cut out. Everything is perfect, ready to apply it. And then I realized that it was inside out. So I saved that piece for the driver's side. It'll be identical, plopped on the driver's side, good to go. Third piece is on, and it's 99.99999% perfect. Oh, well now it's 100% perfect. There was a little piece right down here that was trimmed too short, right up in this corner. But as soon as I put the moldings and everything back on the inside, it covered it up. So there we go, my friends. Our first piece of tint is donezo on the Evo 8. We gotta let this dry up all the way. I did heat up just the top edge because it goes up into that seal and I didn't want it lifting at all. But we need to let this dry up all the way. I think they usually say like 2 to 3 days before you roll the window down. Oh boy, this thing is gonna look so good. So good. Don't worry guys, I know. I ain't very good at tinting yet, but one day when I'm a professional, I'll sit down and give you guys a full step-by-step guide tutorial on how to tint a car, but I'm not gonna do that yet. Let's go ahead and knock out that rear window and then that little triangle piece. check this out. This whole side is done. Believe it or not, the hardest window was this triangle window back here. Reason being, there's no like open seals if the tint is a little bit too big to push the tint into, like there is on that window or that window. This one, it has to be the exact freaking size. These seals are very, very tight. So that took 3 attempts. Now that I know how to do it, the other side should be pretty easy. A little before and after. Now this side, of course, is darkened up already because tint or light cannot go through the side that's tinted. But here's a before, and here is an after. Man, tint just changes everything. Slowly but surely, she's starting to look like that. We just need a few cylinders and a DCT and a lot of other things. I'm gonna save the big windows for last, rear and front. In the meantime, let's go ahead and knock out this whole driver's side. We now have all of the sides done. She is looking absolutely amazing. Next thing I want to attempt, hopefully I can get this thing knocked out in my first shot. This rear glass. It does have quite a bit of curvature to it. So let's get to shrinking our first film. There's called a dry shrink or a wet shrink method. We're gonna be doing the dry shrink method. I went ahead and sprayed on some diluted baby shampoo. Now I'm gonna take this dryer sheet and rub it on the window. I'm gonna rub it till it starts looking nice and milky like so. Now we're gonna let that dry. So after that's all dry, that's how it should look. And now we are ready for the film. The first thing I'm doing is just going through and cutting off all of our excess film. I'm leaving about 1 inch around the whole perimeter of it. Then we'll shrink it and cut it to the actual size of the window later on. Now to shrink this out, we're gonna be using what is called a hard card. So I'm just gonna lightly tack it down right in the center and on the edges. So this is what's called an H pattern. Now we're gonna shrink this in quarters. So from here, down, quarter, quarter, quarter on that side, quarter up on that side. The rear tint is all shrunk down. Now we're gonna go through and precisely trim it to this edge right here. We only need about maybe 1/8 inch of overlap into this black section here. There's no sense in going all the way to the edge. Easiest way to do that, being that this rear tint is 5%, grab yourself a light, put it on the inside of the car, and there you go. You can clearly see through. So our tint is all shrunk, cut up, ready to go. Now we need to clean the inside. where the tint's actually gonna go. So the first thing we're gonna do is grab a raised blade and cut out the defroster lines. I'm kidding, don't do that. No razor blading on the back window because of the defroster lines. But what they recommend is just grab your little white Scotch-Brite and scrub her up real good. That's where this thing comes in handy. Make sure we get all the way down to the bottom. I do have a microfiber on here. I don't want to get that thing completely soaked, and plus that should, if there is dust on that deck cover thing, the microfiber should hold that dust down. I'm not gonna lie, a bit nervous right now because that rear glass took me about just over an hour to shrink, so I don't want to mess it up. Now I'm gonna be doing the roll it up on itself method and then unroll it on the inside. Did a little bit of YouTube watching this morning. It seems like that is the best route to go. Okay, so I have my tint roll here. I'm gonna pop inside, lube up the window, and apply it. Now look, I don't know how I just did this my first try, but I did. I shrunk it my first try, I applied it my first try. Quite honestly, it is perfect. It is freaking perfect. It took me a long time. I'll admit it took me forever to get it on, but hey, we're done. It looks freaking amazing. Take a peek at the inside. Man, oh man. I'm proud of myself for that one. That's cool. Now we got the windshield. Windshield is actually less curved than the rear window, so I think this should be even easier than that back window. My friends, we're done. The car is fully tinted. Every single window is done. Came out so freaking good, man. So freaking good. I love it. I don't know how I went that long without tint on the Evo. Like I said, I think tinters usually recommend 2 to 3 days before rolling the windows down. Of course, the front and the back are gonna be completely fine. I didn't do anything on the sunroof. It's already very, very dark from the factory. It's probably 2% from the factory, so there was no sense in doing anything there. But man, oh man, here's the rest of it. It turned out so good. I'm so proud. Now look, I've seen the comments in the past, in the comment section, of people wondering how do I learn how to do things. This is a prime example. I don't know if I mentioned it yet or not, but when I was tinting the Type R windshield, I went through 100 feet. Let that sink in. The windshield's only like 5 feet wide, 6 feet wide. I went through 100 feet of film learning how to tint a windshield. I spent days and days and hours upon hours. I have no idea, I didn't track it. I wish I would have filmed it so you guys can see truly how long it takes me to learn new things like this. But if I can't figure it out, it drives me insane, literally drives me insane. So I'm always willing to just grind through the hard part, the learning phase of anything. It's the same way with paint, it's the same way with welding, it was the same way with vinyl wrapping, it's the same way with freaking powder coating and Cerakoting and doing everything that I do on cars. This is exactly how I learn. And then you get the end result. And it feels weird to say I'm proud, but truly, man, I'm freaking stoked that this whole thing was tinted by my hands and no one else. No one else touched it. One last good old look. I love this car. It turned out so good. Y'all remember what this thing looked like when we first pulled it in the shop? Yeah, pretty rough. Now look, I know today wasn't a full-on actual how to tint tutorial. I'm not that comfortable, I'm not that good at it. Granted, I did do a whole entire car, but still, I'm not efficient at it. That took me probably 5 times longer, 6 times longer than it would take an actual professional tinter, which of course, every window that I do, I'm gonna get quicker at it. That front windshield, I timed it, 9 minutes to shrink the entire windshield. So that was a huge step from spending 10 hours, whatever, 15 hours trying to learn the Type R windshield. Type R windshield is a little bit more curved. Evo 8 was fairly flat, but it still did require shrinking. But 9 minutes versus hours upon hours, we're getting somewhere, my friends. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up the video right here. I don't even know what to work on next. The Evo 8's done. Type R's dang near done. Lambo's done. New truck is done. That car's done. Everything's done. It might be time for a new project. Sounds about right. Let me know down below what would you like to see on the channel next. I guess I do gotta fix my personal Evo 10. Bobby's Evo 10 needs a little bit of love. Stuff like that, but that's all minor details. Let me know. Piston and I are about to head out for the night. I figured I'd show you this real quick because we have the car side by side. Huracan and the Evo. That's pretty cool. I never thought I would be such a fan of yellow cars. But man, after I painted this thing and got this car looking how it does, and especially after getting that, I'm a big fan of yellow cars. They have to be like more aggressive looking though. If you take like a yellow like Tacoma, something like that, not that cool. But a yellow Huracan or like a yellow Corvette or a yellow RX-7 or a yellow Evo 8, super sick. I figured I'd show you this too. You guys know I got all the sides and the back done on this car. I decided to redo everything, so now everything's redone. I know this car's filthy right now, but this thing is completely redone as far as tint goes as well. And I was trying to tint my spare windshield before it goes in the car, which I did do. Didn't turn out that good. I find it way easier to tint the windshield while the windshield's in the car. Figured I'd throw that out there. But yeah, that's a pretty cool look. Okay, goodbye.